I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
All right, all right. All my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts. It's time for the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. And we've got a really, really awesome show for you today coming up here. We got a couple of good friends joining with us here with a fun, cool announcement about our In the Garden segment. We'll talk about that here coming up in just a few minutes, too. And here, just a little bit later on in the show, too, we've got a fun roundtable conversation. We have back on the show with us Pierson Wilhite and Rebecca from Happy Heart Gardens joining with us here just a little bit later for a fun garden conversation, talking all about what we've got growing on this year. Such a great, fun, exciting gardening season so far. I hope all of you are having a great gardening season as well too. Thank you so much for joining with us here today. And if you can, right here at the top of the show, again, you know the drill. Hit that thumbs up, click the like button, hit the subscribe button as well too if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams. And definitely be sure to share with all of your garden friends out there and let them know that we got just some great, great gardening conversation here, some great, awesome garden guests from all over the world right here every Saturday and Sunday on the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern for all of you out there around the world. Just adjust to your time zones, and we appreciate having you here to, again, join in with all this great fun gardening discussion we get to have each and every weekend. I do have to have one caveat again, I want to say at the top of the show for everybody, just to give a warning here. Things do come up again, too. I got stuff that just happens. I got something that's going on. So ultimately, again, for our upcoming Saturday show this next week, we will be postponing that show. I apologize to everybody about that. I will do what we normally do when I'm not around, is I'll just have the show set up. It will be basically a live chat for everybody. If you do want to come in and say hi to everybody, I know everybody's used to coming in and hanging out with each other and having a fun conversation. So you can join the live chat on the show if you'd like to do that. So we will have that as well. But we will be back though too next Sunday for the next Sunday edition for sure. We've got a great community show coming up for you this next Sunday, so looking forward to that as well too. Those have been really fun for us. So this next Sunday we'll do another community show, so that the guest for our show will be you. So again, like I said, these have been really fun. I'll give out the show link and everything, and you can come and join with us on video like the old call-in radio shows, and come hang out and talk about your garden, talk about maybe a garden channel you might have or something like that. And again, just a chance for all of you out there to be able to join in with the fun gardening conversation. Big, huge shout out to all of you who are watching us on the replay too. Thank you for watching on your time. We always appreciate having you guys join in and check out the show when you get a chance, and definitely drop into the comment section and let us know you're here. Let us know what you got growing on. If you got any comments, suggestions, questions, or if you just want to say hi, definitely drop in. I love to hear from all of you out there. And if you are joining with us here live on the show and you got any questions or comments, or just want to say hi, let us know what you got growing on, have any small channels or anything like that you'd like to let us know about, drop into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Definitely say hi. And if you do have any questions, put those in nice big bold capital letters so that I can see them from the conversation, and we'll definitely try to drop those in and get those answered when we can during the discussions today. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Follow the links down below for all of our guests as well too. Go check out their social medias and maybe even a YouTube video or a recent post, and then let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. Share the love. Let's help grow the community. Let's definitely show some support for those who spend their time and come hang out with us and talk all about this just awesome fun pastime of gardening. And we just having so many great conversations here, so we want to definitely show some support for all of those who join with us here on the show. Excellent, everybody, thank you so much. Did you all have a fun naked gardening day yesterday? I know, again, I was mentioning on the show yesterday, I've mentioned in the past before, Cameron, who was on the show with us yesterday, he was kind of joking about that a little bit as well too. I saw it all throughout social media, and again, like I said, I've said for many years, it's just not something I'm quite going to do. I don't think you'll ever see me. I've teased out that I do have a photo of myself one year, many years ago, that I took where I just had my shirt off, and I was taking it from above the shoulders and just kind of teasing the idea, which is basically the whole idea of it anyways, I suppose. But that was as close as I got, was taking that picture. It sits somewhere on my hard drive somewhere. I can't remember. I was saying yesterday, maybe, I don't know, I'm not too sure, but maybe I dig it out next year or something. I'm not even sure, but I hope you all had fun with it. I hope you all do as well too, because it's always there's always a good reason to be celebrating and having fun in the garden, and that's one that gardeners definitely enjoy each and every year. So it's fun to see it when it comes around, but you just probably won't see me in the mix. Right on, everybody. Excellent. I want to actually start and jump right into this, actually, coming up here, because one of the things that we've been doing here for since we got the show started, one of our original contributors, you all know, our good friend Mark Boucher Colbert. He's here with us on most Sundays doing the In the Garden segment. This was kind of our idea between me and him to kind of, get him involved in the show, because he's a really, really good friend of mine. And I think he's just a great educator and all of that sort of stuff. But, there's only so much some people can do at some point, when it comes down to it. And we get a lot of great, awesome stuff from Mark, definitely in the garden segments he's been doing for us up to this date, for sure. And plus, we get to have him here with us live for In the Garden every third Sunday of the month. And he's with us live to do the monthly gardening book club and all of that. We have so much fun doing that. And I just want to say that Mark isn't going anywhere, really. It's just what we're going to be doing is making some little bit of changes with our In the Garden segment. And so here today, we've got a couple of folks with us, joining with us today to kind of announce, kind of in a way, where an expansion, if you will, or kind of a little retooling of our In the Garden segment, so that we can also include some more folks into what we're doing as well too. We've got a lot of great people who've participated in the show and all of that. So I reached out to a couple of just really awesome gardeners and asked them if they wanted to jump in with me and Mark and kind of help fill in. So what we're going to do is, we've got here in just a second, I'm going to bring them on here with us and we'll talk all about it. But like I said, Mark's still going to be with us. He'll be joining us for one In the Garden segment for the second Sunday of the month. And then again, he'll be with us live on the third Sunday of the month. And then we've got another contributor for the first Sunday and another one for the fourth Sunday. And you know what? Some months there's that fifth Sunday. And guess what? That'll be me. I jump in every now and then and do some of those In the Garden segments myself. So that's what we're going to do. So real quick here, and again too, I've got to come up with a new kind of intro too. I've got the ones that we've got for Mark and all of that, so we'll work with our new contributors and get a new segment intro and everything. But I just got to whip this up real quick. It's in the garden time now, everybody, so let's welcome our new in the garden segment contributors to the show. We've got with us David from Bowtie Life in the Garden and Paul from Good Gardening, our new in the garden contributors joining with us here on the show today. Thank you guys so much for being here today. It's so awesome to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Good to be here.
Right on. Excellent. So I just kind of letting everybody know here, again, it's just, I think a really awesome way to bring some more folks in to be able to do some stuff with the show and really expand what we're offering and what we're doing through our different segments we've got. And this just kind of presented an opportunity for me to kind of reach out and get a couple of really great gardeners. You guys are just really awesome. People who have been watching the show have already known David for contributing already. He's thrown us a few videos, a really fun holiday video. We got this last year and recently with another video as well too. So it was a natural for me to reach out to him and ask him to jump in and participate with our In the Garden segment. And Paul, I really dig what you do, and you're just again too really awesome and everything too for you to spend your time and get out in the garden and everything. Paul's already jumped out and filmed a segment for us too as well too. I got to get it all set up and everything, so we're gonna that's really great as well too, because he's jumping right into this too as well. Nice and excited about it. So I'm gonna hand it off to each one of you guys here real quick. I mean, most people do know you, but let's just go ahead and just give everybody who might not just a quick introduction to who you guys are. Tell us about your channels, and then let us know a little bit about how you feel about doing this in the garden segment. And I'll start with you, Paul. How's it going there?
Hey, things are going well. I was saying a little bit in the background earlier that we're finally getting a little bit of sunlight so I can get outside. We're in Zone 5, yes. Wisconsin. We've been working on more of it's not really urban, we'll call it urban suburban type gardening setup. And so hopefully they'll get to see some of that as we get going. But I think any opportunity we have to share it in the conversation, sharing the experiences and taking a look and really showing what we're doing encourages other people to do the same, or to go through the same experiences, positive, negative, etc. And so I'm really happy to be a part of the community. And I think this is a great opportunity, which we've talked about in the past, just the opportunity for more people to see more other gardeners out there and gain some encouragement from that. So very excited about the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. It's just, again too, I really like the stuff that you already do with your channel and everything too. So I know that we're going to get some great stuff for the In the Garden, and you'll have a lot of really awesome stuff to contribute as well too.
That's the goal.
And then,
Absolutely.
And then, like I said, most folks who's been watching the show either or in the chat know our good friend David from Bowtie Life, and we've seen some segments from him, so we can kind of get an idea what we're going to get from our good friend David right there down in Florida. Right on, David?
You never know what you're going to get from me. We're in the middle of construction.
I think that is what we know we're going to get, is that we know what we're going to get.
In fact, if I tilt back the camera, you can see the ceiling work. Some of you know I got stuck in the ceiling right up over here, and had to be rescued by cousin Bowtie Mark, who appears on my channel from time to time. But you never know. That's not garden related.
But something fun is always going on with you for sure.
Something wild, yeah.
Right on. So how are you feeling about this idea of jumping on with us here for In the Garden?
I think it'll be interesting. I've got another project out there that I do each month, and you and I talked about this. Good grief, what, 6 weeks ago initially, and
right.
And it's been I've processed it. We actually just got off a cruise, and I think I told you I need to wait till after that cruise. And we literally, some of you who were here yesterday know that I literally got out of the car halfway through the show and came in and joined the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're always running, doing stuff.
Right
Redirect me.
on.
What was the initial question? Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, we're just talking about the segment here, and
Yeah.
you know how you feel about jumping on and getting
Yeah.
involved with all of that. You know, again, too, one of the ultimate purposes too, is I really first envisioned this show was this sort of kind of idea, and early on we started out with a couple of contributors. Mark has continued to stay on and all of that, but we had these ideas of doing some of these things. But early on we learned that our show kind of was going to have to grow into something to expand out and do that sort of stuff. And I think we finally kind of gotten to that point where we're doing exactly what our purpose is in this show.
Yeah.
Right. Is we've got up at the top of the screen is we're growing community through gardening, and we're bringing people together. And that's what this show ultimately is. This is a community show. And as I tell people all the time, and I tell guests, and I've also talked to you guys about, behind the scenes and all of that, is that, I don't really look at this as, my show. I'm the face of the show, right? But I look at this as all of your show. You know what I mean? All of you who watch the show, who participate in the show, and all of that too. So, that was something I originally thought was like, let's grow into something where we've got people from everywhere jumping in and doing things and participating and being a part of what we're doing, because that's ultimately the goal of what the whole idea is to kind of have a really cool community variety talk show where we can all meet and hang out together and enjoy this really just extraordinary, I'll just say, passion for gardening that all of us share, and
I've said it before, I'll say it again. What you're going to do next Sunday with the community show, those are always my favorites.
Yeah. Is it? And again, too, all a part of it, things that we're going to have to kind of grow into. It's not something we could have necessarily started out doing. You know what I mean? When I first said, I still got a bunch of great ideas, you know what I mean? But these are things that we'll have to develop and go into. And this is all kind of a part of that. And again, like you said, those community shows are, again, another extension of kind of this whole idea is that we're all here to kind of hang out with each other, and this technology allows us this opportunity. So why not, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes down to it,
Absolutely.
Community is really important, and it's something that I've thought a lot about since I first started gardening, especially as a small space gardener. I don't have, I mean, initially I didn't envision the space that I have today, that I show everybody today. I originally thought I only had like this little strip of dirt and maybe I could put a container or two somewhere. You know what I mean? That's all I was really at first. So my initial thing was, I went out into the community and found a community garden. Was to go and reach out, and so I could find space and that sort of stuff. And that's when I, so early on in my gardening experience, I kind of got to understand, like, oh, wow, look at gardeners coming together, doing and sharing and participating with each other, is just something really great. So I found that as well online too, when I was going to YouTube and finding all these channels and people.
And this is the community to do that with. It's already there, and it just needs to be developed. It needs to be cultivated. That's what we're doing. We're cultivating.
We are cultivating. We're cultivating a great garden community right here for sure.
So Jay Dixon mentioned something, and I think it's time for this. If I don't know how to do this. Can I make this thing play?
What is it? Oh, one of the Is it one of the screens you got? Oh, let's see here. Is it, which one are you?
The pirate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to do this real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta take it.
Just play that for Jay real quick here.
All right, here you go. Let's see what we got.
Everybody.
Let's check out one of Bowtie's fun contributions for us today.
Pirates need compost.
Oh, my.
That was it. Yeah, there's going to be more costumes.
So I want to say I love it. It's great. the nice little. There's a longer clip than that, isn't there? You did more,
Nope,
right?
that's well. Oh yeah, we did. We're going to start putting these in my videos.
All right.
I've been working with a team member to come up with a lot of these that we're going to start putting in. And Mrs. Bowtie helped me record 25 of these on the cruise last week, and just something fun. But
Yeah.
I saw Jay mention costumes. I said, "All right, we got to throw the pirate up."
Well, I'll just say this too. I was really fascinated with your commitment to this bit you did here, because if anybody notices and has followed with David, you'll notice that he doesn't have that beard anymore. He's shaving it off.
Yeah,
I grew it. You grew it just for that, didn't you?
I did.
That's commitment to a bit right there. To grow out a beard just for a bit.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Paul? Huh?
I don't know if I've ever gone that far for one. That's impressive.
I mean, to get it out that long too, that's months of work just letting that thing grow.
That's
so
a
you
lot.
Get it there. Yeah.
Since November.
Okay, I think we're there. Was there some impatience at the end? Let's get it done.
No, there wasn't. I couldn't find any on the ship.
That's great. But right on, guys. This is just really, really, really awesome. That you guys, joining us for this segment, and I look forward to, seeing the contributions. As I said, Paul, you already got us a cool little video tour kind of thing. I think that's what we'll kind of start with, is kind of like maybe a little look around, kind of a little introduction that you guys, give and let everybody know, because this is in the garden. So we'll kind of give an introduction to you and your gardens and all of that too. And like I said, everybody, this will be a, kind of a once a month for each of us contributors. As I said, fifth Sunday will be me, fourth Sunday, I think we've got Paul set up, right?
No.
Yep.
No, David.
Yeah, I thought I was fourth.
That's fine with me.
I'm gonna double check. We'll get this down. I'm just gonna say it this way, anyways. But we got David, then we got, of course. Oh, let me work from the first week, because you know what, working backwards just set me aside. But anyways, I think so. Paul, then, right, first, and then we'll have Mark. Either way, we'll figure it out. And then Mark live on the third week. And then we'll have David or Paul on the fourth week, and then fifth weeks, which is every couple of months or so too. I'll be jumping in, and so we'll be the In the Garden team, bringing you fun, cool things from all of our gardens throughout the growing season. And again, too, guys, thank you so much again too for doing that and really helping us. Really, like I said, take this to this next level of what our show is about, and again too, and also too, yesterday, I don't know if you guys caught the show yesterday, we got a new contributor as well for every other month on Sundays. We're going to have our good friend Dr. Jeff Pierce joining us. We have our own medical doctor here for the show to talk about gardening and as medicine and all of that. So we're going to keep on that, because I think those are important things and stuff like that too. So we're gonna really start amping it up and bring in some other contributors and do some stuff to really show again too exactly what our purpose here is with the Let's Get Growing show, is that we are a community show ultimately, and this is where we all come together as a community, and it's great to have you guys here along with the team now, and look forward to seeing everything that you guys got coming for us.
Absolutely
Looking forward to it.
Right on. Excellent, guys. I really appreciate it. And like I said, everybody, look forward to these guys in upcoming In the Garden segments. And again, let's see, what is it? This is first Sunday. So we'll see.
Yeah, first.
Yeah, okay. That's all right. We'll get it figured out. But anyways, we'll see you all in the garden next week. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see all of you soon.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Enoch.
You got it. Hey, gardeners. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. weekly garden journals. And our incredible featured visits. Oh, I gotta remember to do that when I'm coming out from multiple guests. Anyways, again, thank you to Bowtie David and Paul from Guten Gardening again for joining with us and taking part in our In the Garden segment. Like I said, we look forward to seeing what they've got growing on for us and coming up throughout the gardening season. So really, really great again too. I'm just really excited about this. Like I said, just this bringing more people in and really expanding this show to what I was originally kind of visualizing this to be. We've got lots more to come too as we continue to grow as a channel, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean too also when I'm telling everybody about what I'm talking about. Let's share this out. Let's get people more and more people to know what we've got growing on here, you know, on the weekends here on this show, and just lots of great stuff. Again, like I said yesterday, we talked and announced having our good friend Dr. Jeff Pierce joining with us on a regular basis as a medical doctor contributor to talk about those important things when it comes to gardening and all of that on a regular basis. We've got some other stuff in the works as well too for our Sunday edition. Some things not quite ready to announce or talk about yet, but we still got more coming. Like I said, there's a lot more opportunities for us to be doing some other things as we continue to expand here on the show and to continue to grow. And all of that growth, like I said, is all because of all of you who join with us each and every week. So thank you all so much for being here. And so, all right, let's see here and moving right along today. If you didn't get a chance though to check out our show from yesterday, like I said, we had Dr. Jeff Pierce with us yesterday. Great conversation and just really kind of a start to a longer, more in-depth conversation that we're going to be having throughout the year with Dr. Jeff on the show, you know, about all of these really kind of important topics and subjects in gardening and medicine and health and all of that as well too. Plus we got to talk with Cameron, my good friend Cameron from The Busy Gardener. Cameron, I got to go visit his urban orchard several years ago, and it's one of our videos in our past feature videos we have on our channel. And so it's been quite a few years since I got to see Cameron, so it was really nice to catch back up with him. He also got his camera up out and he showed us some of the orchard and all of that as well too, so that was really fun. So you'll want to go back and check that conversation out with Dr. Jeff and Cameron on yesterday's show as well too. Last Saturday though, we had on the show Jules Acton, author of the book Oak Lore. This book is really, really wonderful. It's so good. I'm almost finished with it. And the only problem with the conversation last week was that she was away in a pretty rural place and the connection wasn't very good. So we didn't get the best conversation. We did get a great conversation with Sarah from Sarah's Seed Shop, if I can say that. Sarah's Seed Shop. We did get to see her and everything, but we're going to have Jules back on hopefully real soon here to really explore and talk more about that really wonderful book that she's got. There's so much cool things to talk about that she wrote in there too. So we'll get her back on the show for that conversation. And then on last Sunday's show too, we did get a really great, we were so fortunate to get Tom Spellman. I mean, one of the foremost guides on fruit tree care for sure. Tom Spellman from Dave Wilson Nursery and Charles Malky Milwaukee from our sponsor, Ivy Organics, joined with us last week for a great roundtable conversation on fruit tree care. So you want to go back if you missed that conversation and have some trees that you need to keep an eye on or take a look at, or want to know a little bit more about, or want to start your own backyard orchard or anything like that. You'll definitely want to go back and check out those conversations on the show. Right on, right on. Like I said, let's get moving along today. We got a great roundtable conversation for you all here today. So let's get that started here. All right. So joining us for our roundtable conversation today, we've got returning to the show our good friend Rebecca from Happy Heart Gardens and Pierson Wilhite joining with us here today. How's it going, guys? Actually, let's go with that one. Great to have you here today. Awesome. And again, too, thanks for joining with us here today. It's great to have you back for this roundtable conversation here. And yeah, lots and lots to talk about. I bet you guys got lots and lots growing on in your gardens. As I bet, especially right now at this point in time, I can see behind you, Pierson, you got some starts and everything. You must be in your greenhouse right now.
I'm in the greenhouse. We're not quite past our last frost date where I'm at, so I'm not as advanced as Rebecca is. I think she's probably already just growing a full-grown garden.
I bet, huh, Rebecca, right? You got a lot of things growing on? Oh, do we got you muted? Are you, let's see here. Let's check your audio here. Uh-oh. Oh, I don't know. Let me see here. I'm going to try that and then try undoing it. Let's see here. Does that help? I don't know. We don't have I'm not getting audio. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Let's see here. No, you're definitely clicking it on and off. Sorry. Anyways, we'll let you kind of work with that. Maybe we could reset or something if you need to. I'm not sure, whatever. You might check the audio portion. There's also an audio tab. You can go in and double check which microphone you have selected for your computer or your phone, depending on which you're looking for. So you might have to go into that part of the settings when it comes down to it, the settings. Yeah. Anyways, Pierson, tell us a little bit more about what you got growing on back there behind you.
Oh, it's the standard stuff, So I've got tomatoes and I've got some pumpkin pie pumpkins. My wife does a ton of pies. She's got her own bakery out of the house, and so she has me grow a bunch of pumpkin pie pumpkins for her. And then she loves cantaloupe, so got cantaloupe going. Just the warm season stuff's in here, waiting for last frost date to pass, and then we'll throw everything out in the garden and grow it all out.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yes.
Yay!
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear you.
Okay, it's my own fault. I tried to use a microphone. I should know better. Sorry, I'll just stick with the computer.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, sometimes it's in the settings can, they don't know which one to connect with when you're first trying to get on and all of that. So yeah,
I'm much
definitely
better gardening than with computer stuff. So
I'm the same way too. Really, a lot of this stuff I just fumble around with anyways myself. Anyways, Rebecca, great to have you here. Tell us a little bit about what you've got growing on. Pierson was mentioning, you probably got a lot of things already in the garden, lots of things growing on already.
Yeah, so I'm, as you know, in South Alabama, that's where I mostly garden. My main garden is. So we're right at the point where I've harvested garlic already. I've started to harvest onions. I'll be doing potatoes probably in the next week or two. And of course, tomatoes and peppers, they've been in the ground for about 5 weeks.
That's amazing.
So we're starting to see some growth. I have, some little small tomatoes. And I really have to get everything in early because we have such high heat. So a lot of things won't grow in the heat of summer unless, it's like okra, cowpeas, that kind of thing. So it's really like the nicest time in the South Alabama garden, like April, May. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I imagine.
That's great. I'm a little jealous that you get to be that far advanced.
Yeah.
If you had our heat, you would not be, because the other problem is with such heat, and we have also, I'm on the Gulf, so we just get all of the fungal issues. I'm already seeing like blight on tomatoes. So yeah, it's nice to garden year round, but the summer garden really is not my favorite, believe it or not. The fall garden is really where it's at. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's really the case, isn't it, for us, in being in different regions and different parts, of the country, is dealing with those different climate issues. So, where one thing looks like it's really cool and successful, and you're like, oh man, I think I'm the same way when I look for people who garden in the South. I'm like, oh, they're already getting a start with that. You're already getting that. But then there is that comes with it, though, is on the other back end of it, right? Summertime's going to be really hot. Things are going to be with this and that, where us in the more northern climates are probably going to have, well, I'm not going to say us, because I get some really, really hot summers as well. I have that kind of different type of seasonal climate, where, things are really great. We get a really good lush spring and everything, but then all of a sudden there's this point, right, as it gets close to summer and a switch hits, and then all of a sudden it becomes like just high heat, upper 90s, hundreds and everything for a couple of months, and we can get that same sort of thing like down in the South, all the hot temperatures of the summer. But there's those positives and negatives that come with every sort of climate, right? So what would be some of the negatives or something of those sort of things on the climate end for yourself there, and where you're gardening, Pierson?
Where I'm gardening?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always just focusing on what does do really well. But
right.
I mainly am jealous of the people that can grow blueberries up north of me, because our soil is too alkaline here in Utah. And so we just can't really do blueberries without a tremendous amount of amendments, and I'm not going to spend the money to try to amend the soil. So we just travel to where we can pick blueberries during the summer.
I got mine just growing in big old
we see container blueberries.
Yeah.
And then all I do is I get the down to earth, and it has this really great acidic fertilizer. And I just do that a couple times a year for them, and it seems to work pretty good.
Same thing. I do mine in raised beds, so I can do it.
I don't know if my blueberries would get to maturity with my kids. They would pick them off and eat them before before I get to them. But it certainly would be fun.
Yeah.
As to fungal issues, we're drier, and so we don't have as much fungal issues like you might be getting down there in the South.
You're very lucky. I'll send you some of my humidity.
Right. See, because being where you're at there in that area, because that's more like, again, I guess really Gulf and all of that. So you're getting a lot of humidity down there from the oceans everywhere around you in a way.
Yeah.
So that's got to really put a lot of pressure on things, or maybe
it does, especially if you like garden organically. Yeah. To keep it organic. I've actually talked to some commercial fruit growers around here, because we have a lot of like satsumas, blueberries, a lot of citrus, and I thought about doing some in my yard. And they're like, you're really going to have to spray. And I'm like, and they said we just, with the way our Gulf Stream goes, because we are like, in that sort of area, we just get all of that. Of course, with the rain, everything comes, the fungal, the bugs. So actually later tonight, we just got a big rainstorm. I'll be out there spraying some organic things and pruning, trying to get ahead of it. So,
Yeah. Try to get ahead of it. That's a good idea right there.
Yes, I have learned that in the years, to just try to be preventative, not to wait until I see a problem, to just, get on it when I can. Yeah.
And that's, again, too, where I lost in my strategy against my squash bugs this last year. Oh, my. Because those are the things you got to try to, you got to be in some way ahead of it. Like you said, be kind of treat ahead a little bit the best you can. And then if you, and at first sign of anything, get on top of it, and then, sometimes I can procrastinate with things like a lot of other gardeners out there with some things, and with stuff like that, fungal issues, pest issues, and things like that, if you're not on top of it, it'll just overtake things, and you just
I saw my
then at
first
that point
squash vine
it's too
borer.
hard to do anything.
Yeah, I saw my first squash vine borer like 2 days ago, so I know they're out there. So I'll be spraying BT tonight.
Okay, let's see. Bowtie is asking, where exactly is Rebecca from?
South Alabama, so at the very bottom of the state.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the little wedge between Florida and Mississippi.
yeah, exactly.
I haven't been to that part exactly. Is it similar to Pensacola?
Yeah, yep. I'm just kind of like straight across. Yep.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So I'm actually from northern Pennsylvania, but I've lived down here for 11 years. So I do a summer garden in Pennsylvania. It's so much. That's like the dream garden. I just plant it. It's easy peasy. My mom harvests. I go back in the fall and harvest the pumpkins, and it's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
What I'm wondering though too is I know folks have different issues they deal with growing on more coastal areas, being near the ocean. But is it similar growing so near to the Gulf per se versus say like the ocean? Imagine, it's all salt water, seawater, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
and I don't have that. I'm not that close. I'm not like on the water.
Close.
I mean, I am close to like the bay and a lot of like rivers and that type of stuff, which is why I get the turtles in the garden.
Okay.
I don't have the salinity issues, I guess you would say. Our ground is sort of like clay and sand in different spots. But yeah, I don't have to worry about having like ocean specific plants. You know what I mean? Because I know some, if you're real close, some things are better for that. But yeah, I'm not quite that close.
Not quite that close. All right. Excellent. Yeah. Right on. So, what kind of, we're kind of digging on there on pressures on things. What are kind of some of the pressures you're dealing with there, Pierson, where you're growing at?
Ask that one more time.
What kind of like pressures of things? Is it pest pressure? You say you're not dealing with fungal pressures as much, but what kind of pest pressures are you dealing with? As far as say like let's start with like bugs. I'm sure you got animal pressure as well too, but you're dealing with a lot of different things
because we're right near the mountains. So we've got deer, so we got to make sure our fences are. You got the deer staying out, and we got fences around. But then you've got mainly we deal with aphids a bit, and we deal with some squash bugs. But if you're paying attention close in the year, it's not been too much of an issue for me.
Yeah.
But I garden my personal garden very sporadic. It's kind of a big permaculture mess,
right?
Just because I find I have less issues with one particular pest hopping on a plant and then running the whole row when I divide my plants up, more permaculture style. So that's kind of how it looks like a mess, and I don't show that on social media much, just because it's not this beautiful organized garden. But I've found that it just divides up. When I have an issue, they don't overtake the whole garden. I have like a sacrificial plant, and they pretty much stay right to that localized plant.
Yeah, that's kind of some of my strategy though too. Is on my end is I'll grow plenty of things. Make sure I've got a lot of each individual thing that I want. That way, if something does get, I can kind of hopefully keep it and keep them from going there to the other ones by making that plant a sacrificial plant or something like that. So I've done that before. So instead of like pulling it out or getting rid of it, I'll just let them eat that so they don't just move on to the next, that sort of thing too. So sometimes that's a good strategy.
And as long as there's a barrier, so it's not just like a buffet that they can just
exactly. Try to create some distance between them in a way, but yet at the same time, don't pull that one that they're really chowing down on at that moment. Try to mitigate and deal with them there on that plant versus allowing, or pulling or getting rid of and then letting them jump and go to the others and just going from one to the next when it comes down to it, basically.
Mhm.
But
Super
again,
smart.
too, it's really, but it's kind of like you said, Rebecca, though, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, it is about just kind of keeping an eye on and, on our plants and that sort of stuff. And I'm a little sporadic too when I do things. I'm a little procrastinated. I procrastinate on some things sometimes. So again, some things will fall between the cracks or get past me in some ways. But really, our strategy really should be, staying in tune with certain things and getting ahead of the game with stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you can. I mean we're all human, so it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, I agree. I mean, you call it sporadic gardening. I call it companion planting. You know what I mean?
What's
That's
that?
where you call it sporadic gardening. That's just what I call companion planting. Because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I plant I try to kind of mix everything up and put herbs everywhere, flowers. I mean, because I do think that you are confusing them. I mean, there was some studies at some point, and I don't remember what the statistic was, but like a bug's like hits so many times on a plant before it decides to eat or something. So yeah, that's just being smart.
Yeah, exactly. And in a way too, I'm kind of lucky with the way my garden space is that, I've got space that's way over here, up front, and then I go all the way back to the back side of the alleyway or the back garden in the back patio or these other areas. So I can grow, like I said, lots of same things, but in different areas. So I can also segregate things on that level as well too. So maybe I lose that variety of what I'm growing over here, like the tomato variety over here, but I've got tomatoes growing over there too. And so keeping things safe and from having that really good distance between things is also helpful as well. Right on. So what are some of the things you've got growing? I know we talk about this stuff when we interview on the show before, but let's kind of talk about that again too. What are some of those things that you really enjoy growing and you got going and are really kind of looking successful right now in this year's garden, that you're seeing right now? And I'm sorry, Rebecca.
Okay, sorry.
I got to remember to include
Rebecca.
names.
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Yeah, exactly. I know. What I was saying is I got to remember that directing with the names here.
I'm sorry.
I'm still getting used to the three-way conversations. So.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. This year, I'm not doing anything like super crazy this year. I am doing a real dedicated Three Sisters bed. I've played around with it a little bit before, but I'm like really just said, you know what, I'm going to just take a whole 4x8 bed and go for it. And that's been super fun. So I kind of did like corn in the back, and then of course the beans all in between, and then a few squash in the middle. Next time, I think I will do it more of like a circle situation. I think that would work better. But it's still been super cool. Like if I don't even get any food out of it, it's just so fun to see everything growing together. The beans are trying to come up the corn now, so that's been really cool. And of course, onions. I absolutely love growing onions. I always get thrips or thrites. I never know how to say that. But I caught them. Okay. I caught them really early this year, so I was able to stay ahead of it. I think the prudent thing to do would be to like not grow onions for a few years, but I refuse to do that. I will just spray some organic insecticide so I can get my onions. But
see, I get what you're saying because and I've done this and sometimes I just don't know what to do. I went a couple of years with my peas. Let's say this. I had grow peas out on the alleyway on these cattle panel trellises that I've got. And the last couple of seasons I've been trying to battle this pea weevil. Just awful little thing, man. And it just gets in there and it just harbors into the little pea and just gets into it and everything. And it just has infested my crops the last couple of years. And I tried to get ahead of it and last year and didn't work and wasn't successful. So I've lost basically 2 years worth of pea crop. And for me, I really grow a lot of the peas for microgreens. So I grow a lot of pea seed basically, right? And so the pea weevil's awful because it ruins the seed, and so that's kind of I'm kind of left with that strategy now this year is I just emptied the space out and I'm not growing any pea at all and just not going to do that in that space. And again too, I could grow in another area and do that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's just awful to have to make that decision. I did that again too with the squash bugs several years ago, and it didn't do a dang bit of good either.
Right.
To skip a season. All I did was skip a season. So again, I feel like that's what I set myself up for again. But yet, it's so awful dealing with these bugs when they're so hard to mitigate.
It is.
And this pea weevil is really awful.
Does it come in like after? Does it come in when they're fresh? Because I know like we do black eyed peas, cow peas, and there you can get a weevil in them if you store them dried. So they recommend you to like freeze them after you process them, and if you have the dried bean. So when is it that you're getting the weevil?
Yeah, they find their way in there when the pea is developing, I guess, or it gets to. I mean, I'm not sure if like you can. And again, I've got to maybe just work on it harder or whatever. Just be more on top of it all or something, and maybe no, you know what I mean? Again, there's something again. And as far as I was reading, it really is about the timing. When are you really putting those plants in? Because you want to get ahead of this little, I don't know if it's called the babies, the little nymphs or whatever it is, that's going to get into the pod and find its way into the individual pea seeds, and then they develop. But yeah, once they get in there and they eat their way into it, though, too, that just kills the seed off anyways. So it's just, and again, too. But yeah, again, as far as that strategy, though, of like skipping seasons, though, I think I think I've just set myself up for just not having not grown something for a season, by just not wanting to deal with it, I guess is what it was.
Yeah, I would just rather
I don't want to deal with it.
I will battle them and maybe even just get tiny onions as opposed to no onions. So,
right,
it's a great point that you made too. A great point about getting ahead of the bugs. That's something we do here. Like I plant like as soon as possible to try to beat that. So that's a good tip for all kinds of pests. But.
Yeah. Again, too. There's for you, Pierson. I mean, how about you and your garden and anything? Is there things that you're growing or so far? Anyways, you got all them starts, and I know we haven't hit last frost date yet. But is there anything you're anticipating doing well this year, or from your starts, or things that are looking like they're going in the right direction?
Well, we'll see, but I had a whole bunch of cilantro that I let go to seed last year, and I collected a bunch of the cilantro seed. And there's just free cilantro everywhere in the garden right now, so I've just let that grow, and we're giving it away to neighbors and family and everywhere. Before I pull it up and put the tomatoes in, but I've got a bunch of cilantro everywhere. I've got onions coming up. We got garlic growing real well. Asparagus is growing well. My strawberries, I haven't obviously harvested any, but they've got all flowers. They're all looking like healthy plants, so I'm excited about those. But that's what's growing in my garden right now, and I've also I know this isn't a plant, but I divided my beehives, so I've got 2 hives now. I know the bee community was hit with one of the largest bee losses in American history, but my hive survived the winter, and they were booming. So I divided it, so now I've got 2 hives, and I'm just excited about that too.
That's very exciting. Yeah, that's very exciting.
So real quick though, and I guess you know what I mean, but when you're dividing a hive like that, and I'm sure I might have talked about this, and we will have, and I'll let everybody else who's watching know too, is that we'll have another bee weekend where we're going to talk with beekeepers and things like that coming up, hopefully a little bit down the road here on the show. But when you're dividing a hive like that, again, the hive has the queen. So are you developing a new queen, or are they just you're just forcing them to kind of make their own new queen in this new hive?
Yeah. So when I was checking early on, whether they survived the winter, how they're doing, like I said, they were pretty strong in there, which was a great sign. Also, they were building out some queen cells. I'm not quite sure if they were thinking they were getting ready to swarm, because swarm cells are normally on the bottom part of a frame, or if they wanted to supersede her, which normally those cells are built in the center of the frame. And so they had cells in the center, they had cells on the bottom. You know, I pick and choose which cells I wanted to keep after they were capped, and I took a frame that, well, what I did is I took the queen from that original hive, and I did an artificial swarm, essentially. So I took her, I took several frames in different stages of progression with their brood cycle, and moved those over into a nuke box. And then, so it made them feel like they had swarmed already. I left a queen cell in there with her, just in case they were actually trying to supersede her. I checked a few days later, and they had torn that queen cell out. So they clearly wanted to swarm. So I just artificially swarmed them. And then I had left two queen cells in the old hive that were about to hatch out. So she's actually out on her mating flight the last couple of days. I'm able to get in next Wednesday and take a look and see if she has successfully made it back and has started laying eggs. So I'm just crossing my fingers there that everything went well. But yeah, they had already started developing their own queen. I'm just assisting in the process so they don't swarm on me and I lose bees.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But yeah, I know. I don't know what have you been or done anything with bees, Rebecca?
I have not. We're trying to do a wildflower field in the Pennsylvania garden, and my brother-in-law was like, "Well, why don't you get bees too?" And I'm like, we gotta just maybe someday, right? Not right now."
Yeah. Do more with like the natives, and native plants and wildflowers, and get a lot of those native bees in your garden and stuff is a good thing as well.
Yeah.
But I've always been fascinated with beekeeping. Mm-hmm. And last year, as I mentioned, we did a weekend on bees and talked to some cool beekeepers. And I went out to the Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association here locally, and I got to put on my first bee suit. And I've never got to do that before. I'm telling you, Rebecca, it is so fun and thrilling. You've never experienced anything like it before, I swear. And I was one of those kids too, and I was telling you that I was one of those kids that a bee was coming. I got stung when I was like maybe 5 years old, and it was the worst thing that happened to me in the world. And so that lived with me through my childhood. And so bees, I'm running from and all of that too. But more so since I've become a gardener and learning more about the importance of a lot of these. You know, we've already mentioned about, you know, pests that are ruining and eating our crops. But, you know, one of the best ways to deal with pests are other pests, integrated pest management, bringing in these other bugs and these other things. But so I learned a lot more about how cool these bugs were and how essential bees are, wasps, all that sort of stuff. So again, too, over the years, I've learned to become more fascinated in all of that. And so when I got to put that bee suit on and get around, they had like 4 or 5 hives. We got to go in and look at the hot queen and all that sort of stuff. It was one of the coolest things. You got just, you know what I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of bees just whipping around you, flying everywhere and all of that. And it's just, and you're in this suit, you're all protected. And you're just like, wow, this is amazing. And so I'm telling you, Rebecca, you got to find a way somehow, go find a local bee association. And I'm sure they'll get you a suit and get you out there just to experience it, because it is so cool.
Well, I actually had bees in a house.
It's a fun experience.
So that was kind of a different experience.
Well, that's a different, that is a little different experience when they've invaded your space, right?
Yeah, that was something else. They took out like 14 like chunks of like comb, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. From like in between the rafters, it was a split level house, and like I knew I was hearing buzzing. I'm like, I know there's like bees in there, and I would see them, you know, and had some people
enough of them to where there's kind of a low rumble in the background, huh?
Yeah, and then sure enough, we found somebody, some guys that wanted a hive. They wanted like their own. They were like trying to get into bees, and they came with like a little homemade vacuum kind of setup thing, and they were so excited. And they took out just these huge things of like not comb, I don't know what you I don't know what you call it, but yeah. But that was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's comb.
Comb. Was there good honey on it? Did they get any honey? I mean, with a size that big, there had to have been a pretty good honey store in there, huh?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. We were just trying to get them.
You didn't even. You were just like, just get them out. Take all of it. Keep the honey. I don't even know about honey.
Yeah, just take whatever you want. Just get them out of here. Yeah. I mean, I love honeybees, but yeah, I don't want them in my house.
But that is a really cool thing too, and something I hadn't thought about before. If before gardening and all of that, and I'd run into that same situation, I don't know if I'd have known really what to do necessarily. And I think that's something that's really great. That if you do have bees that have kind of made a part of your home or your backyard, it could be your barbecue, or it could be, one of the real popular ones is if you got one of those little things in the ground for your water, where your little water turn off thing on and off is. They like to get into those things and things like that, Yeah. So, if you got that sort of stuff, find a local bee association, or, look up local beekeeper or something. Just find someone locally who deals with bees, and they'll get you somebody who'll come out and will probably happily come and grab those bees from you without sending, the pest squad
if you're in Utah
out
and you're
to
dealing with
exterminate them. What's that?
What's
that, Pierson?
If you're in Utah and you're dealing with can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
If you're in Utah and you need if you're in Utah and you need a beekeeper, I'll come grab bees for you. See, I've got a bee box right behind this panel.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's where I keep
ready
my
to go.
equipment. I'll come over and grab some.
Exactly. There's always someone who's going to be happy to come and get those bees for sure. I'll say I did my neighbor and the young couple, or my neighbors right here, and she's worried and freaking out because right above their door is a little wasp nest, but at first she was like, oh, I've got these wasps up there. And I was like, yeah. And I was just kind of telling her about how, again, I get into I like to make sure that they're okay. And I don't bother the wasps or this and that. She's like, but it's right above my door. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Let's remove that one. Let's move that one for sure. And so I was like, I'll go and help you. I'll go over and help you move that and get that removed and taken care of and all that. But it gave me a chance to kind of be like, wasps aren't really that bad. Wasps are actually really important. And she wants to grow a garden and all that sort of stuff too. So I was like, they're really important for managing pests that are coming in, like these little cutworms that'll eat it, so wasps are good to have around, but maybe not right in your doorway. And same with bees, right? They're really cool to have a bee box out in the backyard, but you don't want them right in the walls of your house either,
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it is important, I think, especially when you're, anytime that you're gardening, but if you're a beginner gardener, to kind of maybe learn some of like the bugs that you have like in your area, because a lot of them are beneficial. I talk so much about bad pests, but there are so many beneficial pests, or I guess we shouldn't call it pests, beneficial insects as well, that are very important for the garden. And like you said, we'll take care of those bad pests.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they call, IPM, integrated pest management. And one of our previous guests, and he's one of my favorite gardeners in the Pacific Northwest. You're over in Utah. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but his name's Cisco Morris. And this guy is one of the leaders he's one of the leaders early on, way back in the 70s, or coming out of the 60s, who were teaching and trying to get people to move away from pesticides and these chemicals and stuff. And we're learning about and, practicing early integrated pest management. And again, too, it's just a really cool part of our gardens is, we're growing plants and getting this connection with nature. But as you say, Rebecca, in a way too, when we're doing this and learning early on, it's also a good idea to learn about all the other things that come along with it. And one of the big things for early newer gardeners is, as we were talking about before, our pests, that plants and become problems and eat up everything and really become discouraging for newer gardeners and stuff. So it is a good thing to learn more about the whole garden as an ecosystem, as far as what we can do to manage these things by bringing in other things besides, what's easy for a new gardener, because you know what it's like when you go to those garden centers, especially the big box stores where a lot of people go to get stuff, especially as they're learning and want to learn about gardening. So you got aisles of these dang chemicals, just aisles of them. So it's just too easy to go, well, let's go grab this and take care of that, So it is really important to teach people to learn about these other aspects of again, like I said, this little mini ecosystem you're building in your garden space.
Oh, for sure. And I think too, it's okay to have a little pest damage. I think that's hard too as a beginner gardener.
Yeah.
To like be okay with like some damage, or maybe don't just go like terminal on something for just take it all out. Like it's okay. Like you're gonna get a little bit, a little some holes here, and maybe when you get the infestation, then panic. But
what I tell newer gardeners though too, and it's not to be completely negative on their experiences, is that really you'll be lucky if you get just a little bit of damage in your garden.
Right.
Because ultimately, as a new gardener, you should expect, there's a lot of things that go into certain things and making a cool, healthy plant, right? And that's something that new gardeners got to learn and experience, So bringing some of those, really cool Bonnie plants from the big box store to your backyard probably might not be so successful because of how you're introducing all sorts of aspects, the soil management, these sort of things. And then, creating a healthy plant, and then how susceptible it is to these pests and these sort of things. So ultimately, new gardeners, just be ready for the experience, have fun with it, and go kill some plants.
Yes.
So that you can learn to grow really awesome, healthy plants, as we say, I try to say, because if you keep the expectations down a little low, make the experience great, because that way, those great successes you have are going to be awesome. But then don't be worried if you do not have any, because it's a part of it and it's part of learning it. And it's part of the fun too, really.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And I always tell people start by growing potatoes. I feel like potatoes are just
that's
super easy,
they'll grow themselves.
They'll grow themselves, and you're going to gain that confidence. To me, tomatoes are such divas. I'm like, don't start with potatoes.
Yes.
Throw some potatoes in the bucket. You know what I mean? And harvest
if
them.
There's anything that's going to give you trouble, it's going to be a tomato.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I agree, Rebecca. Potatoes are amazing. They're like, I do potatoes every year just to make myself feel good, and it's like a treasure hunt for the kids when it comes to harvesting.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like newbie gardeners, we're not talking enough about growing potatoes. I feel like that is the little hidden gem of gardening.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're gonna eat them. You're gonna eat them. So and everybody's eating potatoes. So it's always good to grow something that you're gonna eat, rather than grow something that you might not eat at all.
Exactly. Great point. Yeah.
Yeah, like I say with potatoes too, and I always find I was just out there working one of the beds I have, and I've got, and then next to it is this other bed where I grew potatoes last year, and already I'm starting to see just little volunteer plants popping up all over the place, because when you're growing potatoes, you're gonna leave behind some of these little ones. It's just gonna happen, you know what I mean? And then they're gonna grow whole new plants. So in a way, potatoes will grow themselves ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
You'll find them popping up on their own after you've the seasons afterwards and stuff too, but they are a great starter plant, like you said, though.
Yeah, so I'm telling everybody, start with potatoes. My new mission.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Even in containers too. I got same thing. I've got this I showed a little clip yesterday at the beginning of the show, my little intro clip. And it's this container I was growing potatoes out of last year, but I also had some lemon balm seed that I accidentally let go to seed, and it got spread around. So I'm weeding. I think you were kind of mentioning that about your cilantro, Pierson, right? So I had some lemon balm that did that same thing, and it's coming up everywhere, and I'm trying to pull it out everywhere. But I got this container where it's just really this cool, beautiful, like globe of lemon balm. Right? It just looks really kind of cool and neat and everything. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like looking closer. I'm like, wait a minute, those aren't all lemon balm leaves. In there, mixed in are potato leaves too, because there's little potatoes trying to make it out through them as well too. So it's this really cool like mix of potato leaves and lemon mint all in this really cool globe. I thought it was really neat, but more volunteer potatoes even coming out of my containers too as well too. So yeah, like I said, they'll just grow. They're so great.
Now, Pierson, I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, you're in Utah, but do you grow like russet style potatoes? I've only ever grown like, like the sort of traditional potato, never like the russet style, because I feel like I don't have the space or the right climate. So I'm just curious what kind of potatoes you grow out there. Or both of you guys grow.
Yeah. The russets... They're so cheap in the store that and they're common just because Idaho right above us, they're growing russets nonstop, and so they're so cheap that I really have never grown the russet potatoes. I go for the Yukon Golds and the Pontiac Red potatoes. Those are the ones that grow really well in my garden, and we eat them up. So
yeah, those are two varieties
the two types that I've got planted out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just curious because I kind of just do like Yukon Golds, Reds, that sort of, I feel like they're like a style of potato or a type of potato, and then you have like russets. But one of these days I need to like try like the real big russet potatoes and see what happens.
Yeah. There's other similar type of larger style baker type potatoes, whatever, but the russets being so common, like you say, Pierson, I agree. I want to have fun with some of the other types of varieties that they have out there and everything. I got a variety of like this really like kind of really cool purple variety that's just nice purple all the way through. And so in my area, I haven't had too much trouble growing most any variety that's been thrown at me so far. So I haven't had too much trouble with anything. Yeah, where I'm at specifically, so I'm not sure when it comes to.
I do wish I could grow sweet potato. I wish I could grow sweet potato. I think that would be really cool. They just don't. We don't have the heat. I think for sweet potatoes here in Utah. I grew them last year in a grow bag because I thought I could keep.
You tried your greenhouse,
warmer.
maybe?
I can move that to a warm spot.
You try them in a container in your greenhouse through the season. Yeah, because sweet potatoes are amazing and they're awesome and they really grow well. Like I was saying, and again, too similar to like the blueberries. I was saying I get the big, large storage containers. You know what I mean? Just get some of those cheap ones you get it during the holiday season or whatever. Put some holes down on the bottom of them, whatever. And sweet potatoes will grow really well in those. I've grown some big, fat, chunky ones in our containers. But the cool thing about sweet potatoes too is that the leaves are edible too, and they'll just grow massively. They'll just grow vines like crazy.
Oh yeah,
so you can just pluck those nice young leaves off of them almost as much as you want to add to your salads and everything as well too.
They're delicious.
Rebecca, do you grow those? Do you grow sweet potatoes?
Yep, they're
Rebecca?
more of they're a summer crop for me. Yes, I will grow them. I've even done them up a trellis before. I've kind of put them in like my little raised bed with the trellis, so that way the vines can go up there.
Okay.
Or I'll do them in the heat of summer as a cover crop to just let the vines just sort of cover the raised bed. But like Unique was saying, the leaves are great. I usually saute mine kind of like spinach, but super fun plant.
Yeah, that one was a discovery for me
really
though
cool.
too, because I didn't realize that you could eat the leaves until I went to go visit our friend Wendy Fan down in Los Angeles, and she was showing off all of her sweet potatoes and plucking the leaves off and just eating them, and I'm like, and I'd already grown sweet potatoes for a couple of seasons already, and she's eating it, and I'm like, oh wow, those are just edible, huh? And it just didn't occur to me, and I didn't even think about it. But then since I've known, it's literally again too, it's one of my it's one of my newer favorite things is finding those little, secret little gems in the garden that we don't think about much, because with the sweet potato, you think of the potato, not the leaves, radish greens too are really good.
Yeah.
One of the best things though about a radish too, a lot of people don't think about are the seed pods. Seed pods are delicious. Those are a great addition to your salad if you can. I always grow out a portion of my radishes, a group of them just to go to seed. A couple of them for full seed, just so I can grow some radish microgreens and then have some seed for next year. But I'll let several others go to seed just so I can get the young little seed pods and pull them off like little green beans.
So are those seed pods more like radish spicy?
You got a little radish flavor to them, not spicy, but it's got a little bit of that radish flavor to them. Not as spicy as the radish itself, but there's the hint of that flavor there with them as well too. But they're just delicious, and you get the nice young ones too. Don't let them go. Don't let the seeds develop. Similar to like with your cucumbers. You know what I mean? You want to get them young before those seeds start to harden up. But yeah, they're really great, really delicious. And again, too, one of those kind of hidden gem secrets of the garden.
Right.
You think of the radish for the radish, or maybe even the greens too. Some people do know about the greens, but the greens are great. The seed pods are great. And then again, to collect a bunch of seeds so you can do some microgreens too.
Smart.
Yeah. It's a very versatile one. Another one too, though, that's a great beginner plant as well. And versatile because you can do all that other stuff too. So I think that's a great fun one for beginner gardeners too.
Yeah.
Radish for sure. Young kids, especially. Kid gardens, radishes for sure. Because they're quick, fast, quick results. Kids want quick results,
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Right, exactly. Me too, right? I love that. Again, too, you love around the springtime, you see that little meme or post that goes around, and it's got the really close up of the guy in his eye as he's looking down or whatever, and it's like me looking at my seedlings just after I planted the seeds.
Yes, every time.
Are you there yet? Are you growing yet? There's another one with like a little kid in a microscope, a magnifying glass, and he's looking down like that. Just anxious. Just anxious. I want to see you growing. Come on.
Yeah. I just always like to say, no one eat potato leaves. Those you do not.
Right. Yes. Oh, yes. We do have to be aware. You can't eat everything. Yeah, you can't eat every leaf out there.
Potatoes and sweet potatoes are totally different, botanically different creatures. Not even the same.
Yeah. So. And again, while you're talking potatoes are a nightshade. Let's stay away from nightshades, period, when it comes to just testing or playing around with leaves. So that's your peppers. And I know there's some, and I've heard some people say, I'm just not testing or playing around with it. You know what I mean? Don't get on your tomatoes. Don't get on your peppers, potatoes, and eggplants and other nightshades and things like that, when it comes down to it. Yeah. But we have a book.
Call, Rebecca. It's good to point that out.
Our very first book club we did.
You think potato, sweet potato, it's the same thing, but really, I mean, they're
exactly.
so different. I mean, you can tell they're not. I mean,
I'm really glad you thought of that too. We did our very first book club for the show, for the Sunday edition book club, was Ellen Zakos's book, How to Forage for Wild Foods Without Dying, was the caveat, the subheadline to it, without dying. Because we got to be aware, that the plants, do have protective measures when it comes down to certain things, and not everything's edible out there. When it comes down to, a lot of things are, but there's a lot of things that aren't, and you don't want to get caught up. What was it? I don't know if you remember the story of the young guy who was just one of those young idealists who was just kind of fed up with the corporate world and wanted to escape. So he went up to Alaska to go way out into the wilderness, and found this old bus way out in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, right? And was just going to go out there and forage and hunt and live out there and do everything. And they found him many months later, not alive. And that's what it was he had found, I think, some plant that he thought was edible. and ate this plant and whatever, and that's made him extremely sick, and being out there couldn't get help, and that sort of thing. But plants can be dangerous, and you hear about stories of people with mushrooms too, right?
Yeah, I don't touch mushrooms. Nope.
Yeah. I'm not a mushroom person myself. They fascinate me.
I like mushrooms, but I'm not ready to forage for them. I like them, and I'll buy them from someone that knows what they're doing, but I'm not gonna go. Nope.
Yeah.
Exactly. In fact,
Morel-
I've got one of these mushroom kits from one of our viewers. I think the next time around, I might actually just try some. I'm not a mushroom person. I'll try them. I'll eat some mushrooms in a pizza. I'll eat some mushrooms and some other things and stuff like that. But I got to get brave, and I'll try some mushrooms. But I'm more with you, Rebecca, on the sense of, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and as well too, Pierson, that mushroom hunting is a big thing over here in the West and Pacific Northwest for sure. And so I've just never been with it.
Mushroom hunting.
You do? Okay, perfect. Awesome. And I'm just, to me, I'm like, again, I'm on that. It's so, mushrooms, I would never trust myself to identify a mushroom correctly. You know what I mean?
There's like two that I think I would.
I stick to like really common ones.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca.
No, tell us about that, Pierson.
Like two. Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Tell us about some of those mushrooms.
I stick to the really. Yeah, I stick to the really common ones. Your morel mushrooms, your puffball mushrooms, things like that. But morel season is just starting here in Utah, and so people are posting their photos of the morels they found here locally, and I'm just itching to find my own. I'll be out in the next couple of weeks just foraging the hills locally, looking for the morel mushrooms. So I find it fun. You get adventure and you get a snack at the same time. I should preface, just like the potatoes, you got to cook morels. You can't just pluck them off the ground and just eat them. Right? You cook your mushrooms.
They're not a fresh eating mushroom.
I did not know that. Okay, good.
Okay, yeah. That's right.
So you're
very
find
popular here
make
too.
Sure you cook them.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. And morels, right, Pierson? So tell me this: is this if you find a patch, right? This is going to be your own lone secret, right? That's how people are like fishing. You don't share your fishing hole. You don't share this where you go and you find this or that. People with morels, when it comes to finding their spot or they found a spot, they never share it with anybody.
Yeah, they keep that really close to the vest and don't tell anybody. It's funny like that.
It would be good though to be able to figure out how to. My friend's got some really good property, and it's really wooded property on a hillside and everything. And I was telling him, I said it'd be really great to figure out how to get morels to grow, like if you can propagate them somehow, or get them to grow in your areas, and do whatever you can to do that, because they are such a big commodity for people. Like people go crazy for them.
Yeah. You just find morels from another spot and stick them in a bag, and then go tap the spores all over where you think they would grow well. And
I was thinking
maybe in the future you'll get some. I don't know.
From what I hear is they really grow well out of recent wildfire areas.
Yeah.
Right.
Recent burn spots, they grow really well.
So a good idea for a lot of people who want to propagate or grow their own mushrooms, in a sense, is also to maybe do some like charring of some logs and stuff like that as well, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't tried, right? But that sounds like about right. What would be a good idea then, I guess, right?
It
if
sounds
that's
like
where they grow well, is in some burnt up woods, so maybe that's a good idea, because they're going to grow off of that wood that was just recently charred. Yeah. Right on. Excellent, you guys. Anything? What else you guys got growing on here? Again, too, we're digging into lots of fun stuff, pests and these sort of things. Any other sort of cool things you've got growing on or in your garden?
Can I ask
this year,
Rebecca a question?
Absolutely. This is exactly. This is a good part of it. I want you guys to ask each other questions too, as well. That's great. Go for it.
So, I'm sorry I've got a delay, but Rebecca, do you have how did you get your start on social media? What was kind of there generally seems to be a trigger that that launches someone's platform. I'm just kind of wondering what kind of got you started.
Sure. So I've been gardening for, gosh, decades. I grew up on a dairy farm, so we had, we cropped like corn and oats and that type of thing. And I was the real extreme baby of the family, so we didn't really garden when I was smaller, but I always wanted to do all of like the old baby activities. But anyways, I digress. I got older, I moved out, and that's when I started gardening. So I moved down here 11 years ago and was not really, I'm personally on social media. And then my dad got sick about, 4 years ago, I think. 5 years ago. I don't know. Time is so fluid anymore. And just a friend had mentioned, like, why don't you, get, start a gardening social media account to, like, help people? Because, you're, like, doing a lot of stuff. And I was like, I don't know. So I just started Happy Heart Gardens because I have, garden in 2 states. And then it just sort of exploded. It was, like, a great distraction, through my dad's passing and everything. And now it's just become this, this big thing. But it's great. I love it. I really just wanted to inspire people to just show that like anybody can grow. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just get out there and do something. So I've loved it. I've loved, meeting so many people and just, all the community.
Yeah, that's great. Where's your, what platform do you use the most?
Mostly Instagram. I had started a YouTube, last year or so. I also teach yoga. So I had started a YouTube to put some like yoga in the garden videos. And now so I posted them. And now just recently I'm starting to get more active on YouTube, posting like gardening type videos, but it's a way different platform.
It is.
Instagram is so easy. I mean, you just shoot, you post, it's easy to see. YouTube is like a lot of time.
And see it for me, you guys.
Yeah.
For me,
so
on the
there, but
yeah.
See, both of you are more on the shorts and the reels and to be able to do that sort of stuff through Instagram and that. I know, Pierson, you do really well at that as well, too. And for me, I'm the opposite. I'm a YouTube guy. So for me, I'm like, YouTube's easy. I just do this, I do that, whatever. To do shorts and do all this stuff is all this other complicated things. I got to edit on my phone. What? I don't want to do that,
Well,
so I've
YouTube has been an issue for me, just trying to get YouTube to work. I post the same videos, but it's interesting. I don't know what the algorithm wants, and I would love to do longer form content, but I don't know if people can handle me that much, so I stick to the shorts.
That's funny. You know what I mean? You say that, but I ask my followers a lot, what kind of content do you want to see? Because I'm really doing this for them. Like if I gain followers and stuff, or that it's fantastic, but I'm much more about quality, I guess, if that makes sense. Instead of, I'm not here to like blow up and have millions of followers. I mean, that would be cool, but that was never my intention. I really just wanted to like keep it kind of small or whatever, so that I could like respond to everyone and all that. And everybody wants longer formats. Now it gets the least amount of views on Instagram every time I post longer format, but that's what, like my core group likes. So I keep doing it. I mean, I kind of mix it up, and I'm just gonna keep doing it, because who can figure out any algorithm anywhere?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
I should do better at asking my audience what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's good advice, because sometimes I just assume this is what I should do, and it's not necessarily what people want. So I'm taking advice from you. I'm gonna do better.
Oh, thanks. Well, how about you? How did you get started? Is Instagram your main platform?
I feel like Instagram, I get more authentic comments. Like people engage better on Instagram. TikTok, I get more viral videos faster. YouTube, I don't get any views. and Facebook seems kind of fake. completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes a video will go and it just seems like it doesn't feel like as much of a community as Instagram does. I got started making videos regularly last year. I was planting perennial food plants around locally because I just think, you know, having perennial food forests would be really cool. I got in a lot of heat from a lot of people for planting.
I loved it though. I loved it. That's what I loved about. That's what I caught on with him about. Keep talking about it, Pierson, but I loved it though.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you loving it. I need to get somebody that just has some land that we can try just a big perennial food forest on. But yeah, I was planting around, and there was a community of environmentalists that really put me under fire for it, and I launched into a whole crowd of people that I didn't want to necessarily get mad at me, but they all were calling the Utah Department of Natural Resources and reporting me endlessly all day, every day until I took my videos down.
This is insane.
But yeah, I had like the Department of Natural Resources contacting me, and they investigated me for like 3 months, deciding whether I was going to get sued or not. And at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh no, you're good. Don't worry. You didn't plant anything invasive. We were just making sure that you're fine." But it was stressful. I was like, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. that's what really launched me out there a little bit. But I got a degree in horticulture from BYU, Idaho. And this was just some way I thought, well, maybe I can give back. I got some knowledge. I can maybe grow some plants that will be good for both human consumption and animals. Like, animals in this world, they don't have to pay to live. They just get their food from the earth. Like, why can't we as a community grow more things that people can go around and just harvest when they need food, you know? And so I think my ultimate goal would really be to own some land or get some land donated that we could just make big food forests on, that could be, you know, 501c3 type charity where people can just, from the communities, can just go in and take care of and harvest food. I would love that. So that's
have you pick days where people can come in and then have just straight, you know, like group harvest times where you just strip plant, you know, what's left and then utilize that. However, I mean, there's great ways. And I think about this a lot too. And it's one thing to say, let's go get a piece of land, like you're saying, which is great. And then people could, you know, find their way to get there and everything. But really, I found this and would like to integrate this more. And we talked about this and had this conversation a couple of weeks back with Jason Williams, Cloud Gardener UK, went around to a few different countries to learn about urban green spaces. And one of the reasons why I liked what you were doing, Pierson, was because, again, too, you brought some mind to what you were putting out there. You weren't going to go throw some invasives. You weren't going to go and ruin the environment by doing that, but you were putting out these edible trees and plants and things that you could plant out there that were going to have some sort of value as they're growing ultimately, you know what I mean? And I really like that effort. Like, if you're going to make an effort to do something, why not put the effort into doing that and something that's going to bring that back? Well, then even further than just a space somewhere, it's like, why can't we just in any of these places have fruit trees and different things that grow well in our individual areas? We all got food bearing perennial type trees and plants and bushes and things that could be all over the place. And then instead of sitting there, because the biggest criticism I always hear is, well, the fruit's just going to be all over the place and rotting and make a big old mess. And so it doesn't have to be. You know, there's a solution to that issue. And the solution is getting that food to people, finding a way, you know, for one, advertise it, plant fruit trees all around the place and advertise it to your community. Hey, we got all these fruit trees we put out. Here's a harvest day. Everybody go out and harvest, you know, and make a deal out of it in your community. Or let's get an organization of some food pantries and some people and organize some groups together.
Yeah.
And we'll have like just group harvest days around the community, and we'll go get that food and get it to people. I mean, it's just about being a little more proactive when it comes down to that. And I think a lot of people kind of take a distance from that. And even people who you would seem are well intentioned with what their criticism towards you should be. I mean, I wouldn't think of those in groups, you know, in some sense, you know that they're well intentioned and looking out for invasives and stuff, but you would think that they would look out just a little bit further into what's going on and be more aware. And we as a generally could do more. I mean, again, too. And I think that's, again, I'm sorry, I'm on a rant. That took me on a rant because, again, I just, to me, that just brings a lot of what I have a lot of passion about that stuff specifically. I think these are things we could do more with. And that's where and how I found Pierson, was coming across some reels of him just doing that sort of stuff. And I was like, way to go, dude. This is the type of person I think needs to be out doing stuff and being proactive about stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And that was
well,
great.
You know, I think we can grow.
Sucks you had
so
to deal with
more.
all of the animosity and problems when it came down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, again, too, more of that anyway. So really real quick, I know we did talk about that, but what was the final resolution on all that?
So
they're all good. Everything's good. You can keep doing
the
it.
State the state said, "Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it." And I stopped.
I guess on your part, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped planting just off of my own personal land. I have planted several things in pots, and then I've just given those out locally to people to plant in their own yards. I just think we can grow so much more as a community than we do that will feed us. You know, I look around at all the beautiful landscaped yards that, particularly here in Utah where things are dry, you know, we're watering a bunch of grass, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, or have an ornamental tree. It's like, let's grow more food and make life easier on ourselves, you know? So I don't know. I want to inspire people to grow more things in their yards, and and that's just, you know, we'll get it one step at a time. I do want to do a community food forest. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. Find a way to get your local city to get donate a piece of land to dedicate to specifically that kind of project or something would be really great. But that's really the point ultimately is, we can start right at home. You can do that stuff. And then again, too, kind of as I've been encouraging, and we're out of April, but all of April was National Gardening Month, and I was encouraging people to get out and share your gardens with other people and stuff too. And that's some way we can do that. Start at home and then reach out and share what we've got going on. And then through that reaching out, maybe we can spread it out a little wider into our community and create more community type of, I wouldn't say events, but situations where we can do things more. Work with our community councils and stuff too. My city has an arborist, right? I'm sure most every city around the country has an arborist. Work with your city councils and work with that arborist and finding ways to maybe create ways to bring in fruit trees and things like that instead of other types of trees that they're using in new spaces that they're developing
or something. Let's get real pears.
yeah, exactly, right.
We have tons of them down here. It's a whole thing.
It is a thing. Like, what is it? I mean, here's the thing. I don't know much about them, and this is something I've been hearing from other people, but maybe it's how you see them, and they're around there, down there, Rebecca. What is the thing about the Bradford pear?
Well, they're invasive, and they say they smell like fish when they bloom, which I guess I don't have any, and I guess there's none around me where my property is. We're sort of like in an older section, so I guess they didn't have them back then. So I haven't smelled the fish thing, but I know they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah. So it's just that they're spreading themselves, or are cities planting them? Because I've heard that they're used.
I don't think cities are planting them anymore, but I think they just reseed themselves, right? Or is it reseeders for suckers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We got Tree of Heaven here, which is crazy all over the place.
Yeah. They'll seed themselves. The Bradford pears do stink. I don't know if cities are planting them now that they know that they're invasive. Like, I think they were planted pretty actively 20 years ago in my area. So they're all over the place, and
that's what I heard.
While they're blooming, for the couple of weeks that they're blooming, they do stink really bad. But it's mainly the suckers, or not the suckers. They reseed themselves, and you get a ton of little plants just all over the place. In the home that I bought, we've got 3 Bradford pears in the front yard, and my grass always has little starts that are coming up through. It's just kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Well, you got to pull those out.
Yeah.
You know how you prune them. You just take a chainsaw.
Yeah, I know. But I have a hard time with mature
You take
trees.
a what?
It's like, oh, well, I don't want to kill them yet. They're fragile, too. So once they start breaking, that's when they'll come down, and I'll replace them with something else. But they're not quite to that point. They're close.
Right.
Yeah, the joke is, how do you prune a Bradford pear? And then you just show somebody with like a chainsaw.
Yeah, like takes it right down to the base.
Yeah. But will they regrow back?
They might sucker from the bottom. I haven't had issues with suckering from the base of them up front. But I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard some awful things.
I know suckers like crazy, right?
Oh, they come up everywhere. They're really all over the place. I have one of them. I because I didn't know anything about them. They were coming up everywhere. And again, as a new gardener, we're just so fascinated with plants and anything growing and all of that. And I had one of them that kind of popped up in the garden, in the ground space I had. And it's like, well, I'm gonna put it into a pot, and I grew it out. So I've got one like as a potted little tree or whatever that I've kept kind of at a small size and everything, because I just thought it was cool, and I like the leaves, and they have this really interesting peanut butter smell to them, which is really kind of interesting. Yeah, it smells like peanut butter. They're really weird. But so it's a fascinating, cool plant that I have, and it just regrows itself, each year and all of that. But they are everywhere. Little ones here or there. They'll grow in bunches around the base of each other, crowd each other out, and just come up everywhere. And once they get to a certain point of growth, that taproot is so hard to pull that they just really anchor themselves into the ground really well too at a young age.
Yeah.
So they're hard to kind of get rid of in a way as well too because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fascinating looking plant, because they got the cool, like almost kind of fern like leaves and palm almost kind of overhanging in a way. So they're really kind of cool looking in a way, but yeah, massively invasive, and never knew anything about them until I really I was trying to figure out and identify that, because I didn't know what it was, and I was growing it all this time. So I had an ID thing, and I identified it, and came up on the plant ID as a tree of heaven. And then what came out underneath of it was the book A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which is like an old classic book. And that's the centerpiece, is that tree, the tree of heaven or whatever of this book. And I found out about all of that because of it as well too. But then I learned about it, and now I see them everywhere. They're like, oh my God, they are terrible. They are terrible.
But back, the government actually used to pay, botanical explorers, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, to go and travel the world and bring, all these exotic things back. They thought it was great. And now look at us.
It's a huge thing in the botanical world. Botanic gardens in botanic gardens, they'll still do this, go and explore and find new stuff and bring plants or save things or whatever the best they can. And it's so fascinating, that whole thing, that where we are now. Like, have you heard of, and I know you're from down there in that area, Rebecca. Have you seen or experienced what I've heard about kudzu? Is it kudzu? Is that what it's called?
Kudzu, yeah.
Kudzu. Have you heard of this, Pierson?
I've heard of kudzu, but we don't have it here.
Right, exactly. But I know it's got to be in your area, though, right?
I don't actually, again, see it exactly where I am, but if you head to like middle Alabama, and then north up into have I seen it as far as Virginia? I don't remember. Maybe. It's just a terrible vine that overtakes everything. I mean, it kills trees. I mean, you'll just see it. It's just a wall of vines just covering like forest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen videos of it. And it seems so aggressive.
Very aggressive. Yes. Yeah. It's terrible stuff. Not good. And they brought it, I think they brought it originally as they thought it would be a forage material or like a fodder material for like cattle. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. But it's not good stuff. Yeah. We got a lot of bad stuff down here. Yeah. And we're like a port city, so yeah, unfortunately stuff is coming through here. So sorry about that.
Well, you can grow a lot because of your climate, so that's kind of an advantage.
Yeah.
An advantage, disadvantage. I don't know.
Right. Well, every place has pros and cons, right? You just deal with the hand you're dealt. So
yeah, that's right. That's basically all we can do. Deal with the hand we were dealt with. That's for sure. Right on. Excellent. Well, here we are. We're rounding about the end of our discussion today, but I want to give you each real quick, kind of a few minutes again to kind of go over a little bit about what you've got growing on your channels. Let everybody know a little bit about what's happening. And again, too, for everybody, we do have links right down below in the description there, so you can go and check out Pierson and Rebecca from Happy Heart Gardens. I'm sorry, again, I'm stumbling over my words. But anyways, go check out some of what they've got growing on their content there, and leave them some comments and all of that. Shows them some support from the Let's Get Growing show. But what's growing on this year, Rebecca?
Yeah, so it's Happy Heart Gardens. Like I said, mostly on Instagram. I am getting more active on YouTube. So if you want to check me out there, I'm going to try to post maybe once a week. We'll see how that goes. I also do have Facebook. I'm even less on there, but also going to change that moving forward. So follow along. Like I said, we're pretty much in full swing in the Alabama garden. And then I will be heading in a few weeks to Pennsylvania to plant that garden. So you kind of get two zones with me, 9A, and I think I'm 5B there. I always forget. I don't put a lot of stock into zones, so it's northern Pennsylvania.
That's right. Almost really kind of slipped my mind that you did have that whole other region and climate and zone that you garden out of too, as well too. Yeah. So that is
always something crazy going on in my garden, and I have turtles down here that like to steal my fruit. So you might catch some fun turtle fun.
That's cool.
Watch the turtle shenanigans going on in Rebecca's Happy Heart Gardens for sure. Again, like I said,
they like to breed in my yard too. So
wow. How do you real quick, so like turtle eggs, right? So like little nests, do you find like nests? Is that how it is?
I have not found a nest yet. I have seen a baby.
You just see little mini ones.
Only once. I've only seen one baby, which I don't know. This may not be a baby. This might be like 3 years old. I have no idea. They're box turtles.
Okay.
But they're frequently this time of year. We'll just be in the yard, getting it on, having adult time.
That's right.
Usually in the morning. It's usually in the morning times, and then they just go about their business, and it's hilarious. At first I was like, what is happening? And now I just know. So
you figured out their routine for sure, huh?
Yeah, and I have raised bed gardens. They're not real tall. They're only about like 10 inches. But some of the bigger ones will actually get in the raised beds, and they will steal some of the low-hanging fruits. I've caught them taking green tomatoes, cucumbers. Mm-hmm.
You can really just get themselves up in there, huh?
Yes. I have not caught them getting up in the bed, but I've seen them like with the fruit. So I'm like, well, obviously you got it.
Right.
Yeah. So I've had to kind of put some little like low fence around. I mean, it's like, how do you prevent against turtles? Like,
right.
I never knew you'd have to.
I know, right?
Exactly. That made me think though too, when you were saying that, like you've seen them with the fruit, but you didn't see them get in or out at all, right? Have you ever seen that picture of a turtle on a post? It's like you know that the turtle got there because someone put it there. It was kind of making me think, like, like here you got the turtle. He's out. How did he get in? And did someone put him in there and then put him out of there? How did that happen? Right?
Yes. Yeah. I really need to be sponsored by some sort of wildlife camera. So if anybody wants to knows a wildlife camera company that wants to sponsor me, that would be fantastic because I would have
That
some
would be great.
content.
Exactly. Right on, right on.
Yeah.
How about for you, Pierson? What have we got going on there this year? And,
So this year the beginning of this year has been really busy for me, just because I've been building out my website. I finally have a website, so I'm excited about that.
Yes.
It's called mindsprouts.com, sprouts with a Z at the end.
Okay.
And it's mainly geared towards just education. So right now I just have a free online course there that's it's just a plant ID thing, where I'm going around to the different plants that are, might be showy at that time of the year and showing you, oh, this is, X plant. This is how you recognize these different things. And then later this year, I'll be doing those same plants, but without the blooms and kind of what they look like. And I'll just, that's an ongoing course that I'm just kind of adding to. And then I've built out an introduction to plants, kind of a plants 101 thing. Everything that a beginner gardener or beginner aspiring plant enthusiast might, these are the things you should know. And so it's 12 courses or 12 lessons long. It has like little quizzes that you can test your knowledge along the way, which is great. That course is not live yet. It doesn't go active until I think it's another 2 or 3 weeks when that one hits. But I'm excited. I mean, it's just one step further into my journey of just helping educate as many people as possible so that we can get more people growing things, So I'm excited about that. That's kind of what's taken up a ton of my energy and time the last 3 months, and at least my free time. That's what I've been spending time on.
Right. Yeah, for those of us, who do this sort of stuff, it can get busy, especially this time of year. We got a lot of stuff going on, but again, it's the same thing as what I was saying earlier to our earlier guests and all of that too. Is that's really what our goal here is: growing community through gardening. And having folks like yourself who have a passion for teaching and showing people the things that you've learned and want to help encourage people and get them into the gardens, I think it's just really wonderful. And that's really what we're all here about. It's just to have fun and conversate and talk about our gardens and just kind of have a great place to discuss these sort of things with each other, as we're out there just trying to do the good work, you know what I mean? And build and grow this gardening community even bigger, even better than it already is. And I really appreciate you guys taking your time to be here with me. Not only, again, this is just a kind of a newer, funner addition to what we're doing on the Let's Get Growing show. We've had you guys on for our Are You Following segment for the Saturday show. So these roundtable discussions that we're implementing now are kind of a way to kind of further that discussion a little bit, get a little great introduction with you guys and then bring you on and just get to have continue the conversation with these discussions. And it was just really awesome of you guys to take your time to be here with us today to spend your time here talking about what you guys have growing on.
Thank you, Enoch. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. Always love talking gardening.
Yeah, and Rebecca, it's great to meet you.
Yes, great to meet you, Pierson. I'm sure we'll definitely be talking. I'm going to be checking out all your stuff and all of your stuff that happens.
Likewise, I already followed you today because I want to see what you have going on, and I'm excited to know that you're going to be headed up to Pennsylvania, and I'll follow that journey.
Love it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Because again, that's exactly another part of this too, is that, you all get to meet each other through our platform and what we're doing here, and that's another part of, I think, what in my mind, as I look at all of this stuff now, and I just think like, man, this has just turned out to be such a wonderful thing from such a small little, what I thought was a silly idea back in the day. And here we all are sharing with each other and getting to meet each other and to, work and collaborate with each other in as we move further down the road from what we're doing here. Just makes all of this so much worth it and so fun to do for me. And again, thank you guys for being here. And with that, I'll just say, hey, we're going to be, and for everybody else watching and listening too, is we're going to be working and expanding and doing some things more too, so we can continue these sort of conversations too. Because I want to have more of these sort of get-togethers with folks like yourself who have joined with us on our shorter segments and have these longer conversations, and again to be able to just keep on growing on. So right on, you guys. Thank you so much again for being here. Everybody go check out Pierson and Rebecca in our links right down below. And I'm going to finish up the show. If you guys, I don't know what you're up to, but if you want to stick around, I'll be finished up here in just a minute. But thanks again for being here with us today.
Thank you guys so much. See you later.
You got it. You got it. Let's Get Growing is sponsored by IV Organic.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with IV Organics, where we grow cool plants and author Saving the World with the Home Garden. IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
Oh. There I go again. I tell you, I got to remember to click that, get myself full screen after having multiple guests on. But anyways, again, another fun, great conversation there with Rebecca from Happy Heart Gardens and Pierson Wilhite. Check the links down below to them there and go and leave them some comments, like I mentioned before. Let them know you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. Lots and lots going on here today. Lots of fun, great conversations. One thing I did want to mention too is I didn't really get around to our usual jump in the comment section and get to chat with you guys and all of that sort of stuff like we did like we usually do at the beginning of the show. Kind of little rush start to get going, and lots to get to, especially with talking with David and Paul earlier and getting to introduce them as new contributors to our In the Garden segment. So I wanted to make sure we got in and got to talk to them and all of that sort of stuff. Plus everybody just hold on too, because we're going to have lots of opportunity to talk and chat with each other, all of you who join with us each and every weekend in our chat, because for next week's Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show, we are going to do a Sunday edition community show. So that's where all of you get to jump in and join with me right here on the show, sort of like one of those old school live call-in radio shows, except for can't hide behind the radio. This is all video, so you got to jump on with our video link that I'll share with everybody next Sunday. So again, this way too, where everybody's kind of getting a little bit of an advance warning too, that we're going to be doing this. The last couple of times we kind of just threw it out there and did that kind of on the day that we were doing it, and it turned out to be so much fun. So hopefully with a little bit of an advance warning, we'll have just as much fun again this next Sunday, where you, the viewer, get to be the guest on the Let's Get Growing show. So definitely for some of you too, who I know who have come here often and haven't had a chance to get on, I hope to see some of you on our show in the chat this next week as well too. Take it from everybody else who's already done it. It's fun. It's a great way to just join into the conversation and the discussion. And again, another part of what we're doing here on the Let's Get Growing show, as an extension of what we are, as what I say is a community show. This will be specifically a community show that we're calling it, but our show is in general a community show, as we've talked about today. This is about you guys. This is about the folks who contribute and join with us, our guests, and the people who take part in what we do here on this show. There's a lot of great folks out there doing a lot of great stuff in the gardening community. We like to be able to share those and highlight those and introduce some of those people to you if you haven't met them before. Lots of great live streams and all that sort of stuff out there. But I'll tell you one thing though too, is that the Let's Get Growing show and what we got going on here is very, very unique. I haven't found anything like this yet out there. There's, like I said, there's some great live streamers, some that I really, really love and all of that sort of stuff. But what we got going on here is really great, really unique. And again, too, it's because of the folks like you who continue to join with us, continue to participate, and continue to have fun each and every weekend with us here on the Let's Get Growing show, that we are where we are today and growing like we are, to the point where we get to expand and do some of this stuff, like having our good friend David from Bowtie Life in the Garden on with us as a contributor now to In the Garden, and Paul from Guten Gardening. Dr. Jeff, you know what I mean? We got Dr. Jeff who's going to be with us now. We've got Gardener Scott, you know what I mean, who comes and joins with us each month to answer gardening questions. We've got our good friend Mark Boucher Colbert, who comes in and helps us host our wonderful monthly gardening book club. I mean, the more and more I think about and I just talk about this stuff, it just really, really is amazing where we are today and where we've come from. And then again, like I said, that's all because of all of you. So thank you all so much for everything you do to contribute to this show. And again, like I said, we'll see you all for that community show this next week. And also, I mentioned too, the book club. Do you want to also make sure that we're talking about this each and every week too? We've got our book club this week, and we're real excited about our author this month in our monthly gardening book is Craig LaHoyer, author of Epic Tomatoes. I mean, you have to know this book. I mean, this book has been around for about 10 years now. And as I've said, I've seen this book at the bookstore many times and have wanted to get it so many times. But now I finally do, and I have a absolute reason. And we've got Craig LaHoyer himself joining with us third Sunday of the month with our good friend Mark Boucher Colbert, like I said, helping host the show. And we'll dig into this just amazing book, Epic Tomatoes. Just going to be really fun, really great. And again, like I said, too, or as I say every week or every show as we end the show, if you're here with us now and just before we leave, let's go ahead and make sure we click that like button. If you haven't hit it yet, hit that thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. Hit the bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams, and share it with all of your friends. Like I said, don't keep Let's Get Growing a secret. Let's make sure everybody knows about it. Get out in those garden groups and places around there and share and let everybody know about all these amazing, fun, cool conversations and guests that we get to have here on the Let's Get Growing show each and every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, except for this next Saturday. Sorry, that's the one last thing I wanted to make sure I told you guys is that next Saturday's show, again, personal things I've got to get done come up in life. And unfortunately, with a live show like this, sometimes the only period of time I can get to do things with other parties and things like that as well too is this time. And so next Saturday is one of those. And like I also warned yesterday too, there might be another one coming up as well too. I'll just forewarn about that. I really, really apologize. I want to make sure we're here every Saturday and Sunday, but what we will do is we will have the live chat set up. So if you are used to being here and hanging out and chatting with each other, like I know you guys really love to do, we will have that chat available for everybody as well. And then I'll catch up with all of you for our fun community live show that we're doing for our Sunday show. So lots of great fun things growing on. And again too, I'll do this too for everybody. We did this at the end of yesterday's show. I'll give you all one quick little treat before we head out today. And I had my granddaughter in the studio hanging out with us the other day. And so we snapped this little picture. So there's my little Layla for everybody. I know that we haven't shared with her for a while. I did yesterday and a little bit today, but there she is, my little beautiful Princess Layla, hanging out in the Let's Get Growing studio. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. It's so wonderful to hang out with you, and I look forward to seeing all of you for our next Sunday's community show. And again, like I said, live chat will be open up for Saturday, and we'll see all of you next time around.